So welcome to the Albida HCM monthly demonstration. You'll be happy, I think, to know that you're the first cohort. So as of July, Albida will be running an HCM demonstration on the first Wednesday of every month. And on the third Wednesday of every month, we will be running a finance session. And we are currently planning on also creating, perhaps not monthly, but certainly a reasonably regular payroll demonstration as well for those of you that had shown an interest in payroll. So be kind to us. It's the first demo of its kind. We will send you some feedback response form afterwards. Please be brutal with the feedback, because we want to make sure that this becomes a regular occurrence that is of value to the people that do attend. So on that note, very, very brief introductions from the Albida team. So my name is Amy Richardson. I'm one of the regional sales directors for Albida. I cover EMEA and Africa, and I will be your host in a very slight way today. I'm also happy to be joined by Andy McKindu, who is our HCM team manager. Andy will be manning the Q&A and chat during the course of the session. So if you've got any questions, please make sure that you drop them in there. We will do our very best to respond immediately. If not immediately, we will do it after the call. And then finally, our pilot for the day is Tefo Mariri. He is our HCM product lead. Tefo is going to take us through an HCM recruiting and talent demonstration. Please be aware, it is a high-level demonstration. The intention of it to just give you some visibility of the functionality within the system. Appreciate we've got a bit of a mixed bag of customers, existing Workday customers, and some people who are new to the Workday world. So we're going to do our very best to bridge those two different groups. However, if there is anything that you would like to see in much more detail that we don't get to touch on through the course of today, we will happily set up a session for anybody that needs to see something more detailed and granular as part of a follow-up from this session. Very briefly, in terms of timings, obviously we're doing a little bit of welcome and introductions right now. We will then go into the demo. The demo will be somewhere in the region of about 40 minutes long, after which we will do a quick review of the Q&A. Andy will highlight anything, if there is anything that is of relevance that we might want to expand on. And then we will close the session. We will do our very best to respond to everything, as I said, and we will follow up if anybody wants a more detailed demonstration. So with that in mind, I'm going to hand over to Tefo, who will start the demo. Over to you, Tef.
Thank you so much, Amy. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you are all doing well. So I'll just be taking you through our demo today. So we will just go ahead and start off with a brief overview of the homepage, just looking at notification inboxes, the Workday Assistant as well. And then we'll jump into the worker profile, where we will just talk security, the power of one, compensation in there. We will then jump into the performance, again, quite high level for all of these, to jump into performance. And then directly right after that, we will jump into our recruitment, and then end of the day looking at our business process framework and manager reporting as well, right? So I'll just get us started. So this, as you can see on my screen here, this is the homepage, and this just provides a curated experience for all your different workers within your organization. It displays information through your different content, such as your suggested tasks, your transactions, your different announcements, and then also your different cards that you can currently see on screen here. So you as an organization are able to go ahead and customize that content, so then it displays for your workers based on their specific security permissions. So On the left of the screen here, we have our different worklets or your different dashboards that allow the different individuals within your organization to be able to go ahead and access, view reporting, and also have the ability to go ahead and kick off specific tasks that you allow them to kick off in there as well. So this will all be based on security and what you let these individuals go ahead and see in there, right? And then just from a look and feel perspective, we've got on the top left there our logo. This is where you can add your organization's logo. And then we also have our banner as well in here. So the great thing about the system as well, just regarding those two, is that if you've got multiple different companies within your organization, you are able to go ahead and create different rules. So company A sees a different logo and banner compared to company B as well, who will see the ones that you would want them to go ahead and see in there. We then have our search functionality. We call this the smart search, as you are able to find anything that you are looking for within the system. So you can search for different items in here, such as people, reports, tasks, and so on. So in here, I've just typed in Logan, and as you can see, there are quite a few reports that just pop up. But then I'm also able to see Logan, the individual, but also able to see the organization that Logan goes ahead and manages. There are different ways in which you can search here. So if you are looking for something specific as well, so for a specific person, you can click down here on these radio buttons, just click on people and then search. So if I'm looking for just learning related here, if you are looking for a specific course, you would just type in there learning, and then you can go in and then type in the specific course that you're looking for, and the only things that will then show in there will be your learning in there. All right. And then, like I said a little bit earlier as well, you can go ahead and use it for your different tasks. So if you do want to go ahead and request the absence as an individual, you would be able to go ahead and there click into that specific task, and then it will lead you where you need to go and then complete your different actions in there as well. Below this, we've got our different shortcuts now, where you're able to go ahead and enter time for yourself, for example, or for a worker, view your specific org chart. You are able to specify what you want to see on here. As well, individuals will be able to go ahead, request absence, view their pay slips, and so on, depending on what you as an organization, what SKUs rather you as an organization have, right? And then below here, we have our awaiting actions. This is just our inbox where all our different actionable tasks go, and then you are able to access them directly from here, or in the top right here where you can see the 13 as well in there. So like we said, this is configurable. You are able to specify what exactly individuals should see on here. So even if you wanted to, if you didn't want rather the awaiting actions to show up on the home screen here, and just wanted the individual to access it via the button up there, you would be able to hide that from the employee so they do not see it. You would also be able to go ahead and create your different announcements for a specific target group. So when you do create these, you can specify and create your rules to say new hires that have joined after a specific date, or a specific group of individuals that are in a specific company as well. And with these as well, you can go ahead and add in your tasks that can just make it easier for the individual. So while they're in here, it can take them directly to that specific task. And then when we just keep scrolling down, we have items such as your team highlights. If you're a manager, any timely suggestions. So if there's an expense report that needs to get approved, or if there's any required learning that needs to be completed, it will all show up on there as well. So on the top right, we have a feature called the Workday Assistant up here. And the Workday Assistant is just a conversational tool that assists your workers in your organization and managers to be able to go ahead and complete different actions to retrieve information within Workday. So it just allows and enhances their search results with machine learning as well in the background. So if individuals don't necessarily, especially a new individual, if they join the organization and they're not entirely sure how to use it, the Workday Assistant is a great tool that will go ahead and assist them with navigating the system, finding any information as well. So if the individual doesn't know exactly what it can do, there's a button here called Show Capabilities, and then you are able to see based on the category that you're looking for, is it human resources, is it learning, and so on, what do you want to go ahead and look for in there. So I'll just give us an example. I want to be able to give feedback to somebody in the organization. I can simply just type give feedback in there, and then it asks who the individual is that I would like to give feedback to. I'm just going to go ahead and use Amelia as well in there. Once it picks up Amelia, it will just let me know, just enter in the feedback that you want to give Amelia. So I will just say, great job on the project, for example. And then once you have submitted that, you can just select your badge, and then it will ask you, do you want to review it? Do you want to edit it? Or do you simply just want to go ahead and post that, right? So now, anything that is blue within Workday is something that you can drill into, and it can also lead you to that that specific item as well. So I just want to be able to go ahead and see Amelia's page in here, and then under the feedback, I just want to be able to see the feedback that I've provided to her utilizing that Workday Assistant. So we can see we gave her feedback 1st of July 2026, and we've just said to her that she has done a great job in there, right? With the logo up here, which would be your organization's logo, it will always lead you back to the home page. So no matter where you are in the system, if you need to go back to your home page, that is what you will go ahead and click on in there, right? So just continuing up here on the top right, we have our notifications bell. This is where the different notifications, you are just purely being notified that a specific process is in flight, it's been completed, and so on. If you need to receive this, these will also be received via email by the different individuals as well. So again, this is just notification. You're just being notified of a specific transaction or task within the system. Whereas our inbox that I've just gone ahead and clicked on in here, the 13, these are all your different actionable tasks. So this could be you needing to go ahead and approve something, needing to go ahead and enter information. So reviewing a specific task as well. So as we can see, this individual has a task to go ahead and assign different organizations information, so they are able to enter that in, go ahead and submit that as well. In this inbox as well, we do have a bulk approval. So if there is something in the organization that is that's happening, and we have quite a few, let's say, for example, in December, you allow individuals to book leave in December, and a manager has quite a few individuals, part of their team, and they all book their leave, then the manager would then be able to go ahead and bulk approve those specific tasks as well. We then also have the delegations, where an individual, if they are out for a period of time, they are able to go ahead and delegate their tasks to an individual, to somebody else within the organization, just so the processes don't stop while this individual is out. So we can see this on the left here in my manage my delegations. So currently as Logan, I do have one. So between the 1st of July 26 and the 31st of July, I've delegated my create expense report task to Max, who will then complete that for me while I'm out of office. So this also just allows you to be able to go and specify what your different dates are, your beginning end date, who your delegate is, what processes they can start on behalf of you, but also what tasks can they complete on your behalf. So they would receive any task that you would receive into their inbox, and then they can go ahead and complete that. So you can specify if it's for all business processes, or is it for specific business processes, such as maybe just a performance review completion, for example, right? So this is where the individual would go ahead and complete that information. So the next thing I just want to go into here is just into the worker profile. I'm going to look at an employee called Kaya Thomas in here, and this is where all the employees' information sits. So this is their worker profile. We can see their compensation information, their personal information here, anything performance related, just as an example as well. So with Workday believes in the power of one, where we use one system for everything, everything within your organization. So instead of having multiple different systems, one system to complete your performance reviews, one system to complete anything compensation related or recruitment related, everything is pushed into one specific system where you have all the data in here. You can run all your different reporting as well. So on the worker profile, everything is security driven. So you as an organization are able to specify who can see what on an employee's profile. So just as an example, for your specific compensation, you can specify, do you want managers to see that, direct managers, or do you not want them to see it? Or is it only an HR the task that they need to be able to go ahead and see on their side? So every small thing in here is security driven, and then you will be able to go ahead and specify that as well. Right. We then also have an audit trail for everything that happens within the system as well. So I'll just go to my worker history here. So everything that has been kicked off for the employee within the system will have an audit trail, which will show you who's kicked it off, what time did they kick it off. Even if somebody goes ahead and cancels a workflow or a business process, it would still show on there, and then they are able to enter in their comments on why they rescinded or they went ahead and canceled that as well. So if we just go ahead and just scroll down a little bit, we can see that there was an assigned pay group, for example, that was rescinded, and then there was another process, and here the compensation change, which was canceled here. So everything that happens, it will pick up with the timestamp as well on who completed it and so on, right? So an example of that in here, we would see that the compensation change was kicked off, and then we can see that Logan McNeil was the one who went ahead and canceled this process as well. Right. And then just going back to the employee profile on here, just wanted to touch a little bit on compensation, specifically the total reward statement. So the total reward statement within the system is just a feature that provides employees with a detailed breakdown of their compensation, of their different benefits and commissions, any perks, any other perks that they have within the organization. And this is simply to show the employee more than their package. Right. So if somebody has a total base pay of 100,000 £100,000 per year, just as an example, the total package shows that the company gives you X amount of leave days. These are the benefits that they pay towards. So it's showing the employee way past just their total base pay, just as an example in there. Right. And then within the compensation as well, you will be able to go ahead and create different compensation plans, specify if somebody is hourly. And again, just going back to that security, who can see the specific information for the employee? You are able to have your different base pay ranges depending on where someone is located, and then also just have what we call your grade profile. So you can use the same compensation grade, for example. So let's say you've got a band D within your organization, but somebody is in another country, you would then be able to specify what their band looks like for that specific country as well. So like we said, that when whatever gets kicked off in the system will show. So for example, if this individual had any pay change history as well, that will all show from the moment that they joined the organization. If an employee leaves the organization and then comes back after a period of time, all this information of theirs will still be on there, unless if as an organization you had to go ahead and purge it. But if somebody leaves, for example, for 1 month and then comes back just the following month, then that information will still show up on the employee's profile as well, right? So this individual sits in the US. So I just wanted to show somebody who sits in the UK, for example, here, just to show the difference that in the compensation, that it's all dependent on the country you're in, and then also how you as an organization want to go ahead and configure that. Do you want that salary to show in that individual's currency, for example, right? And then you'll also see that you've got different salary plans, allowance plans. You are able to create eligibility rules that show on the employee's profile, or when you are adding in their compensation as well, depending on the rule that you've gone ahead and entered in there. All right. So as part of our profile here, the next item that we just want to go ahead and take a look at is just our performance tab. So HCM is the foundation of Workday, but there are different other SKUs, one of them being your talent optimization. This is inclusive of your talent and your performance as well. So currently on my screen, I've opened up the employee's profile under their performance reviews. So every single performance review that they receive or that they go through from the moment they join the organization will show up on here. This is inclusive of their goal setting templates, their mid-year reviews, their quarterly check-ins, their annual reviews, and so on. So we also can see the period start date and end dates for this, and then the rating, which is the manager's rating. And here, but to be fair and to be consistent within the system, we also have calibration that can be kicked off in the system. So as much as we see the manager's rating, and here we have gone through a calibration to make sure that leadership are having these different conversations, they're moving individuals around within the grid, and then thereafter, once that has been submitted, the manager will then update their rating so it can match the calibrated rating, and then that's the rating that we would be able to go ahead and see on here. We are able to go ahead and view our templates in here as well. So as part of your templates, this is just a very short one in here, but you can pull in items such as your goals or your objectives. You can pull in your competencies. You can pull in feedback that the individual might have received. But what it allows us to do in here is it allows the individual, the employee themselves, to be able to go in and to rate and evaluate themselves, enter in any comments that they might need to, either on the different items or just on the section as well. So we can see the employee has given themselves a rating for a 4 here. We can see what the description is. If the individual had entered in comments as well, we would be able to see them down here. We can then see the manager summary as well, and here what the manager rated the employee. And again, this is just for this specific section of our goals. Our different sections can have different weights. So you might say your goals section or your objectives section in here weighs 80% of the final overall rating that the individual receives, and then your competencies will be 20. And then you can have Workday go ahead and calculate that final rating that will then auto-populate in here, and then you can allow the employee, the employee or even the manager to go in and update that information in there. So when the manager is completing their manager evaluation, then they would be able to see everything that the employee had entered on their side, and then they'd be able to enter in and evaluate the employee as well. Right. So as a part of that, we also have our different goals. So these are the individual goals that we can see on here, but then we also have organizational goals. And what you can also do is allow the individual to be able to go in and align their specific goal to the organization goal. So if the goal is to make £100 million this year, for example, the individual's goal might be to make 2 million of that 100 million, for example. So then they would be able to go ahead and align their specific goal to that organization goal as well. So within these goals as well, so let me just get into this edit goal. We can spend, this is the organizational assignment that I was just talking about, but you are able to make specific items required on here. And then if it relates to any other information, and then if you also want to be able to track it maybe by amount or by a specific percentage, you would then also be able to go ahead and do that. We then also have our competencies. So within Workday, we've got skills, and then we have our competencies, and our competencies just speak to simply how competent you are at the job. These are set up at organizational level, whereas with the skills, usually it is self-service. Employee says, I believe that I have these specific skills, whereas the competencies you specify. We have these set competencies. We are assigning them to a job. And also, if you look at the screen here, we've got targets that can be set up as well. So if we look at active listening, this individual is a customer services representative. You would then see that they have a target of a 5. However, the individual is at a 4. So that is why it is showing as red, which means quite simply that there is a competency gap for this individual. And then if there is anywhere where there is a target and it's above, it will appear as a green, and then you can see that the individual is either on target or they are above target. And then this is when you can go ahead and run your different reports, like your competency gap analysis reporting, to be able to see either across the organization or for your specific team as well, to see, okay, where are the gaps? What do we need to do as an organization to ensure that we go ahead and we close those different gaps as well in there. So these different competencies. So I'll be jumping into recruitment in a moment, but there's quite a few touch points with recruitment and with talent optimization, because whenever you create a job or a job requisition, you can go ahead and add in what specific competencies you might require for that job, or what specific skills the individual might need for that job as well. So when they are applying for it, they can see the competencies, they can see the skills, and then there's something called a skills match, which will then show you how much this individual matches your job as well. So we also then have our career. So career, when we talk talent and performance across the system, we're just talking about the different tabs here: performance, career, and our feedback. So part of our career tab, we've got our different talent information, such as your learning, your certifications, your education, your different languages that this individual might have. Do they have any training that they need, that they've completed outside of the system? And then if there is anything completed in system, there is a Workday learning for that as well. So we'd also be able to see the potential for the individual. Where are they placed? Are they part of any succession plans as well for talent? Have you added them part of any talent pools? For example, do they have any certifications that they've gone ahead and completed? We then also, as a part of this, because I know I've just said a lot here, but we do have a feature called the talent card, which puts all this information into one place for you. And that it's just a one-page summary of the worker's key talent information. This is usually used in discussions regarding succession planning, promotions, and also your different talent retention as well in there. So if you look at this talent card in here, you'll see some information on the employee, how long have they been in the organization, where they're located, who their manager is, and so on. But then all the information that sits on under their career tab, such as their work experience, their education, their certification, their languages, and so on. All pulls into this card. And then on the right here, we can see, were they part of any succession plans? What were their competencies? What is their current rating? What was their previous rating, for example? So also just some performance information and talent information. If this individual was placed in the 9-box grid, just as an example, we would then be able to see that what their potential is, what their retention is, their loss impact, so loss performance rating over time, and so on. So all that information, instead of having to run multiple different reports, you can see this all in one place. So this is the standard Workday delivered one, but then you as an organization are able to customize this and specify what exactly you would like to see in here. So if you don't need to see mobility, just as an example, in career interests, and you want to add in your own logo and select your own colors and so on, that is something that is also a possibility in there. So just going back to Kaya here, and then we will just, so all that information that we see added in for this specific individual will show up, if entered rather in recruitment, it will also just go ahead and pull into the system, so the individual doesn't need to go ahead and complete it again when you finally hire them. So before I jump into recruitment there, we just have a little bit on feedback. So if the individual had received any feedback, you would be able to see it here. If they've given any feedback to somebody else, you would then be able to see that. And then if you are a manager, you'd be able to see feedback on your team. And then also if there are if there is any feedback that has been given on any skills as well, we would be able to go ahead and see that. All right. So as mentioned, there is a touch point between talent and recruitment. So I will just jump into a job requisition, and here that we can just go ahead and view. So there's a job requisition that has been opened because we want to hire somebody within the organization. When you have Workday recruitment, this is what you'll be able to go ahead and see. And then we have this funnel here, which shows the different stages of the recruitment process. So we have one where the individual applies for the job, and then they will be in the review stage. From here, they would then be able to move down until they get to ready for hire, for example, and it is quite a seamless experience. Once the individual gets to ready for hire, then it will automatically get kicked off to whoever needs to complete the hire within the system, usually the HR business partner, for example. So like I mentioned, whatever information is entered as well, part of the recruitment, doesn't need to be re-entered again by the employee during the hire. It will automatically get pulled in there. So as part of this funnel as well, you as an organization can specify what your different steps are, and then you can also specify, do you want to be able to move the employee forward and back? Do you want them to be able to skip between one step to another, for example, in there, right? So in this as well, you'd be able to see who the hiring manager is and the recruiter, what the location is, the start date, and so on. And then we also have our different candidates. So you would be able to see all the different candidates that have applied for this, what their names are, and then that skills match that I was really just talking about a little bit earlier. And then it will just let you know, is it good, is it fair, and so on. And then you'd be able to see quite a bit of information as well. So like just an overview, they've attached their CV in here as well. What are their contact information? What have they entered in any experience on their profile? Are they eligible to work in the country? If there's an age eligibility as well. And then you could also just be able to see their experience, their job titles, the different companies that they worked for as well in here. So By simply just clicking on the individual, you would then be able to go ahead and move them forward. So if you needed to move this individual from the review step to maybe a screening or an assessment, you would then be able to go ahead and do that in there. So whenever they're being moved forward or maybe might need to get moved back to another step, this is where this would go ahead and get completed as well. We then also have the details. These will just be usually just the job details that were added in when the position was created internally. And then we'll also be able to see all the different organizations that the individual might be a part of. So what company they are part of, what cost center they are part of, and then if they're utilizing regions as well, they'll be able to pop in there. So we also have qualifications. Like I said, talent and recruitment do have some touch point there. So we can see languages, which is usually part of talent. We can pull in and specify what language we need this individual to speak. Is it a requirement? No, it's not, but you are able to specify. With the education as well, we can see that in here we have specified that yes, this individual needs to have a BA in history in here as well. And then also plus would be the MBA, and then all those different competencies that we require from these individuals will be shown in here as well. And then you are able to go ahead and post your jobs internally and externally as well. So if posted externally, it will take you to your Workday external career site where the individual can go ahead and apply for the job in here. So this is what they would be able to go ahead and see on their side. And then they'll be able to go ahead, hit apply and sign up. There's also a button there that just says introduce yourself. So if there aren't any positions that are currently open for the individuals, they'll be able to hit the introduce yourself rather, and then they can be added to your pool of individuals that you can look at a later stage as well, right? And then I just want to just go in here, and then we can just take a look just at business process framework, and then I think just hand back over to Amy there. Okay, so within Workday, we have our business processes or your different workflows, and these are just how you want certain processes to run within the system. So whenever we speak about business processes, we have the 3 W's, the who, the what, and the when as well, right? But before I jump into that, what you'll notice in here, I've just typed in BP hire, and we can see that there's a default definition. There's a hire for next level enterprise, and then a hire for USA, for example. What this just allows you to do is that if you have a completely different business process for a specific company, for a specific department as well within your organization, you would be able to create a completely different process for them. We usually try go global, but if it is push comes to shove and you need to have a different business process, you would be able to go ahead and do that, and it will follow that process if the individual is being hired in the USA, just as an example in there. So taking a look at our business process in here. So when we speak about the who, we are just talking about the individuals who can complete specific tasks in here, who can go ahead and kick off the process. So up here, we've got our initiating security groups. So these individuals would then be able to go ahead and start a hire for individuals that they support in there. We also can see that for each of the different steps, we have our different groups that will be going in and completing that specific step in there. And then we have the what. So what exactly are they going ahead and completing? That will just be those steps in there, such as your change organization assignment, your proposed compensation for hire. Those are the what's. What is that specific task that the who needs to go ahead and complete as well. And then we have our when. So when do these specific steps need to be actioned? So we have our initiation step, which was kicked off by one of these individuals in here. Once then that is done, when in the process does the change organization assignment get kicked off? When does the assign and so on? So in here we've got the order. As you can see, it is alphabetical because that gives us when exactly the steps need to go ahead and get kicked off. We then also have due dates on the right here, which will just show when we expect this specific task to go ahead and be completed as well. All right. And then right under there, we do have our different notifications that can be set up for the different groups of individuals that need to see it. So if a business process for hire, for example, is being cancelled, who do we want to alert that it's being cancelled? If it's been complete, do we need to let IT, just as an example, to know that, by the way, there's a new hire, here's some information on them, please can you sort them out with the laptop just as well in there. So that's where all your different notifications will be set up as well, right? And then quite simply, the changing a business process is quite simple in here. So I will just take a look at updating business process change emergency contact, for example, because we just want to go ahead and add in an approval. So I can simply just open the business process. I want to specify that I want to go ahead and edit it. And then finally, I just want to be able to specify, okay, what is the step that we want to go ahead and add in? So I've specified it follows the initiation. So the order is B, and then what type is it? We actually just want an approval in there, and then we'll be able to also specify what security groups in here are allowed to go ahead and approve. And I say I want that to be a manager. And just like that, our business process is set up. It's just asking me in here. So in Workday as well, you'll see red alerts and amber alerts. Red alerts say, hey, you need to make a change. And then we have our amber alerts as well that just let you know that you can change something if you would like to. We're just alerting you of it. But just for this one here, it's just simply saying that I just need to make that final step, the completion step, and then the process is done there. So now if I go ahead as an individual and I go ahead and change emergency contact, I'll complete that information and then it'll go to the manager for approval as well in there. All right. Cool. Thank you, everybody. Amy?
Thank you very much. Right. So just before we finish off, there's a couple of things that we wanted to just give you. I appreciate that was a whistle-stop tour of Workday HCM recruiting and talent. If you have an interest in either a deeper dive into any of the particular areas or into payroll or into finance, if you would just take a moment to drop into the Q&A section the areas of interest that you've got, we can then follow up with you and let you know whether we're going to be doing a general a demonstration on that topic that we can invite you to, or we can set up a dedicated one to you. So for those of you that are in the room, if you would like us to follow up with you or inform you of follow-up demonstrations around payroll or finance or any particular area specific to HCM, please just drop it into the Q&A or respond to the follow-up email that we will be sending. This the slide that's on the screen at the moment is just a little bit of information for those of you that may be at the point of consideration and thinking about potentially implementing either new functionality because you're an existing customer, or you're completely new potential prospect to Workday and you're thinking about whether or not that you might want to and what approach you might want to take. These 4 columns are basically the areas that we would take most organizations through when we start to talk to them about their considerations around functionality. If you focus a little bit of time on really getting a good visibility on what your organizational answers are to these 4 areas. So, what is your budget, time and resource commitment, whether you would prefer phased or you would be comfortable with a phased deployment, or you're looking to deploy everything at once, which in the Workday world is a big bang. If you're happy to have foundational functionality on day one with best practice processes, or do you want to optimize those after the fact? And then, of course, what kind of integration requirements that you would have. If you start to think about those things in advance, then when anybody comes to talk to you about what your requirements are, it will be hugely beneficial in helping a partner like us to create a proposal that best aligns to the organizational requirements. And it also gives us a good opportunity to help you from a consultative perspective. Right. I don't think there were any questions that were listed unless Andy saw any. For those of you, no, don't think so. Appreciate that was a very quick run through of the system. I hope that it was valuable to those of you that are on the call. As I mentioned, we will be following up with a survey. We would like all feedback that you might be willing to give, and then we will follow up further with a connection just to see if there's anything further that we can do to assist you with. Outside of that, thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a lovely afternoon.